A golden sun illuminated the bamboo grove where disciples gathered around the Buddha. Seeking refuge from their tormented thoughts, the Buddha's serene presence embodied stillness, calming even the most restless hearts in its tranquil proximity. One disciple named Anand spoke, his voice burdened by past mistakes and lingering guilt that darkened his path. "Master," Anand began, bowing humbly, "how can one release the chains of regret and find freedom in compassion?" The Buddha picked up an earthen bowl, filling it with clear water before raising it to his disciples' view. "Tell me," the Buddha asked gently, "how much do you believe this bowl weighs in your hands?" The disciples murmured uncertain guesses, their responses varying from ounces to pounds but lacking absolute confidence. "Does its weight change over time?" the Buddha questioned further, tilting the bowl slightly to let sunlight refract. "No, Master," answered Anand, "the weight remains constant, yet its burden may intensify with prolonged holding." The Buddha nodded, his smile warm yet profound, as if carrying layers of wisdom unspoken. "And so it is with sorrow and regret," the Buddha stated, setting the bowl down gracefully before his feet. "To carry sorrow is to burden oneself, multiplying suffering until release becomes impossible through sheer weariness." "Master," Anand interjected, "how can we learn to release such burdens with compassion and without forsaking responsibility?" The Buddha's gaze met Anand's, his eyes mirroring reflection and empathy alike in their steady presence. "To release regret does not mean abandoning reflection," the Buddha said, "but choosing mindfulness over imprisonment." He lifted the bowl again, now empty but radiant as sunlight glinted off its bare surface. "See this bowl as it is now, emptied but still capable of holding more than regret." The disciples watched intently as the Buddha filled the bowl anew, this time with small blossoms fallen nearby. These blossoms represent kindness and forgiveness, enriching life's vessels instead of emptying them through suffering. A young disciple approached hesitantly, her face streaked with sorrow, bowing deeply in reverence. "Master, my sorrows consume my waking moments, and I fear releasing them means losing part of myself." The Buddha extended the bowl toward her, its fragrant blossoms shifting gently with movement. "Carry this bowl for a moment," the Buddha instructed, "but now focus on its beauty rather than its weight." The disciple held the bowl close, gazing into its contents until tears welled from within her weary soul. "Do you see?" the Buddha said, his voice soft like the rustle of leaves in the breeze. To reflect upon beauty is to redirect energy toward compassion rather than guilt or recrimination. The disciples murmured amongst themselves, each pondering how such simple acts yielded profound transformation. "Master," Anand asked once more, "how does one achieve this mindfulness within their own vessel, if it has grown cracked?" The Buddha retrieved another earthen bowl nearby, its surface lined with fissures yet retaining its strength. "Even cracked vessels may hold beauty," the Buddha said, filling its base with blossoms that overflowed gracefully. "What matters is not perfection but resilience, where each crack reflects lessons learned rather than mistakes repeated." Anand bowed deeply, his mind alight with newfound understanding as clarity unveiled its serene essence. The disciples sat in silent meditation, each gazing upon their own vessels through both reflection and release. Anand approached the Buddha, his voice quieter now yet tinged with hopefulness undisguised. "Master," Anand said, "your compassion lightens our burdens like sunlight on petals. How can one embody this themselves?" To embody compassion is to live without attachment while planting seeds of kindness wherever they may sprout. The Buddha gestured toward the grove itself, where fallen blossoms now adorned earth fertile from nourishing rains. "Release sorrow gently rather than forcefully, and it will dissolve into wisdom rather than resistance." Anand reflected deeply, Observing the grove's renewal as clarity began weaving its tapestry within his heart, the disciple, who had carried the fragrant bowl, approached the Buddha once more, now smiling faintly. "Master," she said, "I will keep this bowl's image within my heart, releasing sorrow as blossoms fall." The Buddha offered his hand in blessing, his palm steady like earth beneath their feet. Compassion heals not only the one who receives but also the one who offers freely and unconditionally. The disciples dispersed, each carrying vessels now emptied of sorrow but filled with new light within. Thus, the Buddha's teachings spread among them, like petals borne by winds toward distant lands unknown. Each carried lessons of release, resilience, and renewal, planting compassion within their hearts and the hearts of others. Another day, the Buddha and his disciples wandered across the verdant countryside, seeking places to share teachings of compassion. They reached a small village where a laborer carried an enormous sack, its weight bowing his back painfully. The Buddha approached the man with gentle steps, his presence radiating kindness and wisdom through the quiet of the afternoon. "Friend," the Buddha asked softly, "why do you carry such a heavy burden upon your back wherever you go?" The man looked startled but answered, "These stones are my past misdeeds, reminders of my guilt and punishment deserved. Do they ease your suffering? These stones that weigh upon your body and spirit equally?" asked the Buddha, his tone calm. "No, Master," the man admitted. "They grow heavier with each passing day, but I dare not release them." The Buddha gestured toward the ground, indicating a shaded area beneath a blossoming tree nearby. "Set the sack down for a moment and rest. Let your body recover from carrying such heaviness," he said compassionately. The man hesitated before lowering the sack carefully, feeling the immense relief wash over him like a wave. As the laborer stretched, the Buddha looked upon him, his expression one of profound understanding and empathy. "When the sack is set aside, the weight no longer burdens you. The body finds relief instantly," the Buddha stated. "Master," the man questioned, "if my sins remain unchanged, why should I feel relief from simply setting them aside?" "The stones you carry are not your sins but your attachment to them. Their meaning resides within, not their physicality," the Buddha explained. The man gazed at the sack of stones, now lying peacefully upon the earth rather than upon his shoulders. "What, then, should I do with them?" the man asked, his voice trembling with both fear and hope alike. "Abandon the stones," the Buddha answered, "and live each day with intention and mindfulness, planting compassion in their place." "But Master," the man pleaded, "if I abandon my punishment, will I not risk forgetting my mistakes?" The Buddha knelt beside the sack, removing a single stone and holding it gently within his palm. "You may carry a single stone, a lesson, rather than the entire sack of guilt weighing you down. Let the single stone be a reminder of compassion, not pain, for lessons transform. While suffering stagnates," the Buddha concluded. The man wept openly, his tears blending with the soil beneath him, symbolizing renewal as burdens dissolved. "You are free to walk forward now," the Buddha said, his voice soft yet resonant like birdsong filling the air. The disciples observed silently, their minds alight with the power of release learned through witnessing transformation unfold. One disciple approached the laborer hesitantly, asking, "Do you feel lighter now without the sack upon your shoulders?" The man nodded, his expression marked with clarity where confusion had resided before meeting the Buddha. "I had no idea how much lighter freedom feels, until the Master showed me compassion instead of condemnation," the man replied. The Buddha stood beside the disciple, explaining, "When compassion replaces guilt, the soul flourishes like blossoms beneath nourishing rains." The disciples murmured amongst themselves, their reflections weaving the threads of understanding into their own hearts and minds. The laborer bowed deeply to the Buddha, saying, "I will carry a single stone henceforth, and compassion wherever I go." The Buddha offered his blessing, his hand steady and reassuring as it rested lightly upon the laborer's shoulder. Live with mindfulness. Each step forward plants seeds of renewal and forgiveness for both yourself and others, the Buddha said. The man walked away lighter, his burden transformed into wisdom that radiated from within his freed spirit. The Buddha turned to his disciples, observing their silent contemplation beneath the blossoming branches of the shade tree. Each of you carries your own sack of stones, though invisible to others. Felt deeply within, the Buddha began. Release that sack, and let the earth carry its weight as the soul embraces growth and renewal instead. One disciple questioned, "Master, how can one know they have truly released their burdens, rather than hiding from accountability?" To release does not mean abandonment. Transformation through reflection and intention aligns actions with compassion instead of perpetuating harm, he explained. "Master," another disciple said, "must one forget all sorrow to release? Or does memory remain essential to growth?" Memory guides reflection, but attachment binds the soul. Let memory teach, while compassion heals, the Buddha replied warmly. The disciples meditated upon his teachings, their minds working to discern paths forward toward forgiveness and inner peace. The Buddha gestured toward the blossoming tree, saying, "This tree's flowers fall yet return, renewing itself through cycles of growth. So, too, do burdens dissolve when released, returning as wisdom and lessons planted like seeds of compassion," he explained. The disciples bowed in reverence, their gratitude for the Buddha's teachings as boundless as the horizon stretching around them. Thus, the group continued their journey, carrying lessons learned as sunlight illuminated paths toward compassionate renewal and mindful transformation. Another day, as rains retreated, Buddha journeyed to a village plagued by feuds, its people burdened with generations of discord. The villagers gathered under a banyan tree, seeking counsel from the Buddha, who radiated calm amidst their desperate pleas for resolution. The elders of two warring clans approached, their voices heavy with grievances passed down through cycles of anger and betrayal. "Master," one elder began, "we suffer from resentment that poisons our hearts and divides the village endlessly. Is there remedy?" The Buddha observed both clans in silence, his gaze filled with compassion that seemed to soften the sharpest tensions between them. "Bring me 2 flowers, one from each clan," Buddha requested calmly. As symbols of the pains each harbors within, the elders hesitated briefly before returning with 2 withered flowers, their petals dry and brittle from unrelenting exposure. Buddha held the flowers gently, raising them before the clans, his voice resonating like soft echoes across the gathering. "These flowers represent grudges held tightly, their withered state mirroring anger that saps vitality from all who cling to it." He extended the flowers back toward the elders, instructing them to hold them and reflect upon their feud's origins deeply. The clans gripped the flowers silently, their memories surfacing, revealing hurts and betrayals bound to generations past and present. "Now," Buddha continued, "release your pains as you release these flowers, letting them fall where nature renews them." The elders hesitated, hands trembling, before slowly relinquishing their hold, the flowers descending gracefully to the earth below. As petals scattered, Buddha spoke again, his tone unwavering. "Forgiveness does not condone past harm but frees the heart's chains." The villagers watched intently, their expressions shifting from skepticism to tentative hope, stirred by the simplicity of Buddha's words. One elder asked, "Master, what if pain lingers even after forgiveness? As scars remain despite wounds healing over time?" Pain may linger as memory, Buddha answered, but it transforms through forgiveness, enriching the soil of compassion within. The clans murmured amongst themselves, reflecting on Buddha's teachings as their understanding deepened beneath the banyan's ancient canopy. Another elder asked, "Master, how can one trust after betrayal? When vulnerability risks reopening wounds concealed within the heart, to trust again is to cultivate courage," Buddha replied, planting seeds of understanding to replace fear, nurturing growth beyond harm. The villagers considered his wisdom carefully, each grappling with the fragile balance between vulnerability, forgiveness, and lasting reconciliation. Buddha gestured toward the banyan tree, its branches sprawling widely, offering shade to all regardless of their differences. This tree's roots intertwine, supporting its strength. So, too, must your hearts unite, fostering resilience rather than separation. A young villager approached Buddha hesitantly, her voice trembling yet sincere as she asked, "Master, how does one begin anew?" Buddha extended his hand toward her, palm open as if offering both guidance and possibility through simple yet profound gestures. To begin anew, Buddha said, one must release attachments to past harms while cultivating compassion in every step forward. The villagers meditated upon his teachings, their silence carrying both introspection and resolve toward forging paths of reconciliation. An elder spoke to his clan, urging forgiveness and unity, his words echoing the transformation witnessed through Buddha's presence. The other clan followed, bridging divisions as their hearts opened to healing like blossoms nourished by gentle, life-giving rains. The villagers embraced beneath the banyan tree, their reconciliation a testament to forgiveness woven through compassion's eternal threads. Buddha observed silently, his expression serene as harmony bloomed within the village where discord had long cast shadows. The villagers bowed in reverence to the Buddha, gratitude overflowing as wisdom illuminated their renewed paths like sunlight after storms through cycles of pain and healing. Buddha's teachings planted seeds that flourished, spreading compassion across distant lands and future generations. Rahula, hesitant yet curious, asked, "Master, how does one find peace when grief clouds the heart like an unyielding storm?" Buddha replied, "Peace lies in embracing the storm, knowing it will pass, as clear skies always follow. Grief reflects love, not weakness." Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.